Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is time for another Get Ready With Me. So, grab your makeup bag and let's get ready together. I am going to go kind of light today because I'm going to use the Avon Ideal Flawless CC Cream, and this has an SPF of 50 in it, and the one I'm using today is medium. And anytime I use the CC Cream, I generally don't put foundation over the top of it. Usually in my everyday life, if I were wearing it, it's just because I'm not really, doing anything that day. Maybe I don't know, going to be out at the park or someplace like that. I am not planning on wearing a full face of makeup. A lot of times it's because I want that SPF 50. So, anytime I wear this, I usually know that I'm purposely going white. And so I don't put another foundation over the top of it for coverage. You could, though, if you want to. CC creams, really, that's what they were intended to do. So today I'm babysitting, and then I have a meeting to go to this evening, but it's kind of like a community meeting, and I'm not putting the meeting on, and I don't know. Unless somebody says something that ticks me off, I don't have intentions to speak. You never know. But, so, I need to be presentable, but I don't have to be uber professional. If I were going to speak or were presenting, I might dress a little more professionally. But it's not my meeting, so I can just be a normal human being. And on days when I'm babysitting, I like to be kind of comfortable because, you just never know if we're going to be outside playing baseball or, what we're going to do. And I'm not dressed for baseball in, 100-degree weather, but I could do it if I had to, right? So sometimes it's hard to find that happy medium, but this is what we're going with today. But anyway, since I don't have anything super important to do as far as business-wise, I can pare down the makeup a little bit and go a little more natural. I'm just going to put a tiny bit of concealer on because, CC cream doesn't give any coverage. So if I, went heavy-handed with the concealer, it's going to look a hot mess, right? Because then I'll look like I have really bad raccoon eyes and like I have a mask under my eyes and nothing else. So I'm just going to try to use a little tiny bit. I need to give this a good shake. When it gets humid around here, things in tubes tend to separate pretty badly. So everything in my tubes I'm giving a good shake today. A little tiny bit under the eyes. This is the Hard Candy Glamouflage Light that I wear all the time. Might be a little too much on that eye. We'll pat it out. So the bad thing about the Get Ready With Me is I wish I could zoom in more for you guys, but when I configure the video so that it'll fit YouTube's sort of widescreen layout, I lose the ability to zoom. So if I film it in a format that I can zoom in so you guys can see really closely what I'm doing, then I have the black edges on the side of the video every time. So, it's one of those can't win for losing kind of things. So hopefully you guys can still tell what I'm doing. I mean, I think you can for the most part. I don't think it's terrible. I'm not going to do any powder because the powder, you know, over top of my bare skin. Usually I just use a little bit of powder just to even out, you know, where my skin tends to be a little more red. It just lightens that up a little bit. But since I don't have foundation on, there's nothing to sort of blend it into. And I don't use powder all over the face. The particular powder that I use is kind of a light shade, and so I wouldn't put that all over my face because it would kind of, I mean, it wouldn't really ghost me out, but there's just no point when I'm not using that much foundation. There's no point in using a full face of powder either. So I'm also not going to really contour, like I'm not going to contour my cheekbones. I'm going to give myself just a little bit of bronzing because, you know, whether you have foundation on or not, you do get a little bit of sun. And that will show through, so I'm going to do that. But I'm not going to contour my cheeks because there's nothing to sort of blend that contour into. So it just wouldn't make any sense to do it. So I'm just going to use my normal bronzing powder, the Avon Suntan bronzing powder. And I'm just going to give myself a little bit of color across the top of my forehead because that's where I get the sun on my head. I get it up here. If you get it around here, then that's where you should put your bronzers. Here over the brows, if you have brows that sort of stand out more, not your brows, but your brow bones. My sun tends to hit all up here, so that's where I should put my color. And then I'm going to give myself just a little bit kind of like across the nose and across the cheekbones, because that's where I also get sun. And the look I'm doing today, it goes around a lipstick. I want everything to sort of go with this lipstick. So this is one of the Mark Lipclick full color lipsticks, and the color I'm using today is Whiney. And this is the one that's kind of, it's like a purpley mauve. It's more purple than mauve, but it's, you know, it's in that family. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on now and then build my eye look around the lipstick. And my mirror's over here, so I'm going to look this way. And even though this is kind of purpley, it's a very natural color, so I think really anybody could wear it for any occasion. Next I'm going to prime the eyes with the Mark Please Hold Eye Primer. And I'm down to the very last bits, so I'm using a brush, you know, to get it out from around the edges. Normally I just use my fingers. But use a brush, just kind of get it on the lid, and then I'll spread it out with my fingers. And since the lipstick's kind of a purpley pink, I'm going to go for more, no matter what kind of eyeshadow I use, it's going to have, hopefully, depending on what I've got in here in my little case, more of those pinky, purpley tones to it. I think I'm going to use the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette, because those are more rosy tones. You know, if I were to use really dark browns, or orangey tone browns, you know, it's going to clash with this lip color. A lot of times I see people make that mistake all the time. You know, one of my favorite YouTubers who I like the most, Tati, does that to herself all the time, and she usually notices it with her lip color. Or she'll say, oh, this just isn't the right lip color for me, or it just doesn't look right with my skin tone. It's not that she can't wear it with her skin tone, it's that it's clashing with, you know, the rest of her makeup, the tones that she chose for the rest of her makeup, usually her eye makeup. And she does that all the time, and I get so frustrated with her because it's almost a self-esteem thing where she's like, gosh, this color just doesn't look good on me, or I just can't pull this off. sort of how she says it. Or, you know, this just does not look good on my skin color. You know, all you girls that can pull these off, I'm so envious. She says stuff like that all the time. I'm like, Tati, you can wear that. You're just, you know, putting it with the wrong eye color. They're clashing, and that's why you don't like it, because it's standing out, because it's not, doesn't go. So you want to be careful not to make that mistake. So this has a lot of lighter pinky colors, and I really am gonna kind of avoid the pinky colors a little bit unless they're a little more plummy, because this is a little more it's almost an eggplanty sort of mauve, but it's very sheer. But when you're up close, so from far away, that color is not showing that well, but up close you can see it a little more. So I'm gonna use these colors, but I'm gonna use the pinky tones that are a little more on the plummy side, so that they kind of complement each other. They complement the lipstick color. And you can still use your normal kind of neutral base colors. I mean, that's depending on the shade, but most of the time that's not gonna affect it too much. You just want to kind of use you know, think like an artist would in their choice of colors or their combination of colors when you're doing this, because that's what you're doing. I mean, makeup is art on your face. And some are better at it than others. But, you know, it is what it is. I think for all over the lid, I'm going to use Buzz, which is this kind of pinky color right here. I'm going to use that on the lid. And, you know, I'm going light here today. I don't need my makeup to go on like a thick layer of spackle, especially when I'm just using a CC cream as a foundation. You know, you can see all of my freckles and all of my blemishes and all of my redness and all that kind of thing through it, so there's no point in having super heavy eye makeup on. It's going to look better if I keep it kind of natural. And then on the kind of from the crease up, and using this as my brow bone color, I'm going to use the shade Burnout, which is this one right here, the third one over. So I'm just going to use the same brush. I'm just going to wipe off the pink and flip it over. And this is a very neutral color. It almost just gives a little bit of shine on my skin tone. It doesn't really so much give color as it does just a little sheen, and that pink sort of blends into it a little bit, which is okay. And then just under the very crease of my brow bone, I'm going to go in with this color here, Dust, just to lighten it up just a little bit. So I'm actually going to use the tip of the brush for that. And just really kind of put it right underneath the highest point of the brow bone, the outer arch, like the outer 2/3. So right in here is my highest point right there, and I'm just going to drag it out. And then I'm going to use a little bit of Strange, which is just like a very pale matte shade. And I'm going to put that like right in here just so that that area isn't just skin. Now some of you don't have a section of skin there. Some of you have, you know, brows that go a little lower and that kind of thing. Or that part here goes straight into the nose. So if you don't have that, you don't need to do that step, right? If you don't have that little bit of skin there. But I just don't want it to be devoid of any kind of shadow. I don't want there to be an obvious line right here where my shadow starts. And then in the crease, I think I'm going to use, let's see. I think I'm going to use just a little bit of Dark Side, which is the second to the last one. I'm inclined to use this one, but I'm doing such a light look today that this one I think is just a little too intense, so I'm going to go with this one. Still the same brush. I'm taking it on the side. This is the time where I'm missing my flat angled eyeshadow brush. I'm just taking it on that one edge because it comes to a point, so I'm just taking it on one edge, and I'm going to run it through the crease. And then create the outer V. And I'm going to drag it into the outer third just a little bit, just so it's not an obvious V, just to soften that some. And then I'm going to take it up just a little bit above the crease here on the outer side. Same thing on the other eye. And then if you want to take a blending brush to soften the edges, you can, you know, or if you need to remove, if you got a little too heavy-handed, you can, it helps to sort of take some of that color back off because it's a clean brush, especially if it's a natural hair brush that will absorb some of the color back up. Okay. And then I want to use this Urban Decay. This is a little bit too purpley, I think, but I want to use this Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil. It's in the shade Vice. And it's a little bit too purpley, but I haven't used it yet, so I just want to use it. So I would really recommend to use something a little more smoky, like the Marc Jacobs one I used last time. Something along those lines, or even a deep smoky brown, but I just haven't had a chance to use this yet, so today is the day. And no wings. I don't do wings that often anyway. It's just too much, you know, it's just too much for every day. On my face. But definitely, since I'm not doing a full face of foundation and everything else, I don't need to go crazy with the eyeshadow. It just wouldn't make any sense. And I'm going to use a little of my brow powder in Fawn. You guys know I like brows to look like brows, not like a piece of electrical tape. So I always go natural. This is not something I'm doing differently just because I'm using a CC cream instead of a foundation. This is just how I roll. Natural for the win. If you want to curl your lashes, go ahead and do that now. But I am just going to go straight in with my mascara. This is my last tube of the Avon Super Extend Infinitize in black, which was my Holy Grail mascara that got discontinued. Not putting any on the bottom lashes today, which I usually don't because I don't like mascara running down my face. And I have really long lashes, or fairly long lashes. And so it actually tends to transfer anyway from my top lashes already because they're fairly long. So it's just better if I don't put any underneath. Plus it makes me look younger, so I like looking younger. And then for blush, I have this purpley blush. I think I'm going to use it. This is the Lorac Color Source Buildable Blush, and the color I have is Ultraviolet. And I'm going to go light with this, though, because I don't want to look purple. And my look isn't particularly purple. If my look were more purple, real purple, then I would go a little heavier with it, but I try to go light. We'll see. And then for highlight, I'm going to use the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector pressed in Opal. And that's actually kind of a champagne-y color. I'm going to use it lightly, actually over the apples of my cheeks, because the blush is very matte, and I want my skin to have just a little bit more shine through here because everything else has a little shine. So if this is really matte, it makes it stand out a lot. I'm going to use a little bit kind of here on my cheeks. And then I'm going to use some a little more concentrated through here. Like a real highlight. Normally it's done, a real highlight. This doesn't make it any more real. And then of course down the bridge of my nose, not the tips, ladies. The tip of your nose already has shine to it. It already stands out like a hood ornament. You don't need to make it stand out anymore. What you want to do is you're trying to make your nose seem thinner, and so you want to highlight through here, not on the tip. That's going to make this part seem thinner. It makes the bridge of the nose seem thinner by highlighting down through here. Plus it just gives you a little bit of shine. But you don't need, I mean, I don't need anything right here. You can see the tip of my nose is already reflecting light naturally. I don't need anything else there. Okay. And I don't do the Cupid's bow because I personally think that makes you look like you've got a sweaty upper lip. And that to me looks worse than being super oily on the face. being sweaty on the face is worse than being oily on the face. So I don't do the Cupid's bow, but you do you. If you like it, you do it. Okay, so that's it. Just, it's a natural look. It's a subtle look, but it's still a lot of color, and it's still, still pretty, you know? Even though I don't have a ton of foundation, you know, I still look finished. So, tell me what you think. Hopefully you like that. If you have those products, give them a try, or they might be products you want to pick up. Or if you have products that are similar, then just pull out what you have that's similar and see if you can make it work. Alright, I hope you liked it. If you're new to my channel, then don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!